Welcome to If That Happened, the show where we take a perfectly good historical premise, douse it in gasoline, and light it on fire just to see what happens. Tonight, we're tackling a what if. So bonkers, it's like a fever dream you'd have after eating too much poutine and watching The Apprentice reruns. Picture this. Canada gets annexed by the United States to escape Donald Trump's absolutely unhinged 50% tariffs. Yes, it's time to merge the land of maple syrup with the land of deep-fried freedom. Let's dive in. First, the setup. It's 2018, and Donald Trump, former reality TV star, current chaos agent, decides to slap a 50% tariff on everything Canada sends south. We're talking lumber, hockey sticks, those weird ketchup-flavored chips, everything. Now, in real life, Trump did hit Canada with tariffs. 25% on steel, 10% on aluminum, but 50% across the board? That's not a policy. That's a temper tantrum with a tax code. It's like punishing your neighbor for having a nicer lawn by setting their house on fire. Canada, where 75% of exports go to the US, collapses faster than a house of cards in a windstorm. Businesses shut down, unemployment spikes, and Tim Hortons, Canada's caffeine lifeline, runs out of coffee. Out of coffee. Imagine the riots. Meanwhile, Justin Trudeau's perfect hair starts wilting under the stress, which is honestly the most tragic casualty of all. The country's in freefall, and something drastic has to be done. In Ottawa, Parliament holds an emergency meeting. After 6 hours of saying sorry and debating whether to blame the mispopulation, someone, I'm picturing a guy named Gord, stands up and says, what if we just join the states? No tariffs if we're in the club, right? The room goes quieter than a library during a snowstorm. Then, one by one, they nod. It's the most Canadian solution ever, solving a crisis with excessive politeness and a complete lack of self-preservation. By 2020, it's official. Canada's annexed in what's basically a hostile corporate takeover with extra snow. It's not one state, though, oh no. That'd be too simple. Ontario becomes New North Dakota because apparently Dakota needed a sequel. Quebec, ever the drama queen, declares itself Freedom France and demands more baguettes. Alberta, with its oil and cowboy hats, gets dubbed Texas Junior, which, frankly, feels like a glow-up. And Ottawa? Rebranded as Trumpala, complete with a tacky golden T bolted onto Parliament Hill. It's like a Las Vegas casino had a baby with a ski lodge. The cultural collision is instinct and horrifying. The new flag is a bold eagle chowing down on a beaver because nothing screams togetherness, like a nature documentary gone wrong. Nantis swap their noble steeds for monster trucks, blaring Nickelback unironically. Oh Canada gets a makeover with screaming guitars and zero apologies, which feels like a hate crime against acoustics. It's a red, white, and blue fever dream where everyone's confused and nobody's happy. 5 years later, it's a circus. Trump's Make America Greater plan turns Canada into his personal sandbox. Niagara Falls? Now, Trump Falls Casino with neon lights and a blackjack table where the water used to be. The Rocky Mountains? Flattened into a 900-mile golf course, because who needs nature when you've got a 9-iron? Hockey's banned for being too aggressive, yes, really replaced by Freedom Frisbee, which Canadians boycott by passive-aggressively drinking tea instead. Quebec, predictably, loses its mind. They declare themselves New France and try to secede for the third time in history. Nobody notices, though, because the US is busy relocating Canada's grizzly bears to Florida, where they promptly eat half of Miami. Up north, Canadians pay a maple tax, 10% on syrup, to fund Trump's border wall, while Mexico builds its own wall to keep out the lunacy. It's a continental meltdown, and everyone's wearing plaid. Could this actually happen? No, thank God. Canada's too good, second largest country on Earth, and too stubborn to just roll over. The real 2018 tariffs hurt, but Canada fought back with its own levies and lived to tell the tale. Annexation? That's a geopolitical nightmare. NATO would implode, the UN would cry foul, and Britain would send strongly worded emails about the Queen. But in this twisted, what if, Trump's ego and some tariff tanic create a North America nobody asked for? So, if Canada joined the USA to escape 50% tariffs, we'd get a world where poutine's a Happy Meal side, Moose Crash tailgates, and Trudeau's stuck hosting Survivor, Nunavut. It's a dystopian comedy goldmine half-laugh riot, half-warning label. Next time you drizzle maple syrup on your waffles, raise a glass to the fact that this is just a what-if. Because if it ever happened, we'd all be saying sorry while dodging bald eagles in pickup trucks.